Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today, as I am every single week, by Cozy Snap. Cozy, we got a lot to talk about today. We've got so many cards to talk about. Actually, I got to tell you, haven't you felt like there has been this treadmill of cards coming out in Snap? Hasn't it felt like more fresh than usual? There's just so much happening. Got the new game mode, cards coming out in that game mode. You got weekly cards, you got caches, double releases early on in the season. Man, there's so much to talk about.
Dude, there is, man. We have 8 cards today, plus, and listen, it was, and it's good because February wasn't exactly the month that we were excited about. We've talked about Bright Future. We talked about March and April, and it almost feels good to get done with this month a little bit, but there was some, definitely, diamonds in the rough, and there's definitely, I think these reviews are they're going to be fun. I know one that I think I regret saying pretty well, buddy, but, because I don't even remember what we ranked some of these. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a long month. It's been one of those months where it's there's so many cards, so much happening, and some of them really punched above their weight class, and others felt maybe worse than expected. And let's get started with Sam Wilson Captain America, the Season Pass card. The Season Pass card often is the one that a lot of people fixate on. Not only is it the one that, you got to spend your $10 on, which is USD, of course, but it's also the one that I think it really sets the tone for the season. And I do think that Second Dinner does try to make the Season Pass card like the linchpin card of even some of the interactions you get with some other stuff. With regards to Sam Wilson, I came in at 4 stars. You came in at 3.5 to 4. So a little bit I think you needed a little bit of convincing. What I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, is that Sam Wilson has exceeded my expectations. I don't think it's as obviously broken as a Surtur. It's not like a clear-cut 5, but it has been so meta-relevant, and it has been such a quiet, heavy high performer that I think it might be kind of not quite 5, but it's tapping on that ceiling. It's
really
tapping on that level because I think it's just been remarkably good from an initiative granting standpoint. It's just good, man.
If I recall, we both gave him the card of the month. I think it was hard to not. We gave him number 1. I think Diamondback was 2. Maybe I said Diamondback was 1, but I feel like I definitely liked him the best. I would agree, though. I think what we didn't like about him, if you don't draw him, whatnot, but just getting the shield out, the priority, being able to have constant pressure on the opponent by moving the shield. And, he reminds me, and I don't even know if we said this, but maybe we did, that he reminded me a bit of Kate Bishop in the sense of, he can just kind of work as this nice 2-drop that's flexible. And obviously, he was made in mind with the game mode, too. I think that was not a coincidence. I think he was clearly they knew he'd be pretty solid in that. I wouldn't give him a 5 personally. I think that there's, I wouldn't give him a 5, but I do think he's definitely, he fell above expectation.
To be clear, I'm not saying that he's a 5. I'm saying that he's as close as you can get without being a 5.
Okay.
He's a 4.8 if I had to go right down to the nitty gritty. He is right there. And I think that his power's deceptive. I think his strength is deceptive. I don't think it's obvious. And I think that part of it, honestly, is that he activates cards like Cull Obsidian. Cull Obsidian is a card that has genuinely and truthfully benefited from this card's existence in an insane way. It's to the point that the Surtur decks, which have since been nerfed, were running Cull Obsidian strictly because it had a guaranteed spot with that shield. And that's something you had mentioned in our video, in our discussion, right? And it was something that I had not considered prior, and I don't think many people had. And then what you saw is other 10 power cards in those Surtur shells. Something like a Tuma could utilize the shield as a bounce off of ensuring it didn't actually destroy anything instead of having to run the armor, which it did anyways, the armor Cosmo combination. But a Tuma got to feast on that shield. But honestly, in the new mode, it absolutely crushed. Not only did it earn initiative and give you a free point almost every single game because somehow the Agamotto location of the Agamotto, the Sanctum location happened to be the one where the shield was sitting on. It had to be because both players are playing the damn card anyway. So it's a 66% chance that someone's getting a free point on turn 1. It just felt very consistent, very strong. It's running at 20% popularity, which is high. We've seen higher for Season Pass cards.
For sure seen higher.
So I wonder if this is one people skipped on.
I feel like it is. I do. I feel like people skipped on February, man. And from what I've seen, and starting with the Season Pass moving forward. I mean, because I think we both said you don't need it, right? And I feel like it. What did we say? We said this is a card that will get a lot of popularity this month, and then as we move on, you're not going to see it. And I do fear for that a little bit. That's why I don't want to give it a 5. I feel like in a few months from now, I just don't think we're going to see it in decks unless priorities, the importance.
I think you're right, but at the same time, I feel like we're selling it short for how good it is.
Yeah.
Like, how do I explain this? There are some cards that are so obviously good, right? They're so obvious good, like what Surtur was. Like, we keep going back to Surtur, but Surtur was so obvious. Like, on paper, it's like, how could anyone not see that this is a 5-star card? With Sam Wilson, I think it's deceptively very good. And another example of that is even like the Scream decks. We're running Sam Wilson because with Sam Wilson, you can add Craven in it because those decks used to be, I don't draw Scream, I lose. Now I don't draw Scream and I have Sam Wilson, I have Iron Patriot, I have Craven, and all of those feast in that deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why it gave me that Kate Bishop feel because she was the same. It was like, okay, it was a car, she was cool. I don't see it though. A lot of people, I remember, like, I just don't see it. I don't. Why is she so good? Why? Yeah. And then as time went on, you're like, oh, it's because she fits into it so much, right? Like she truly works and helps other decks out, and her value is just not in your face, which is obviously why part of Surtur went up so much and playability too, and how much he got played is it's just obvious what's happening. It's obvious how big he's getting, and it's easy to understand. Unlike some other things like Bounce, whatever. Like Toxin, when that released, you could have looked at him and like, wow, this is obviously insane. But compared to Surtur, it's like, oh, big power. Like, this is obviously, huge too. But yeah, I agree, man. I think he definitely ends up being the best card of the month.
Yeah, it could very well be. And moving on is the card that released at the same time. And unlike the prior month, this card does not have any inherent synergy with Sam Wilson. It was Joaquin Torres Falcon. Now, this card has been since buffed. It's been dropped down to a 2/2, right? It was a 3-costed card before. I came in kind of hot. I came in expecting a 4-star release from him. So far, not looking good. You say 4 stars and the card got buffed, Alex? You dumbass. Like, what are you doing there, bud? Coach, you came in at 3. So at least I'm going to give you the win on this one. You got the dub on the OG Joaquin Torres Falcon. What were your thoughts on this card?
Joaquin. Yeah, man. I think if we saw Joaquin at a 2/2, we would have been a bit more excited. And, the 3/4, the awkwardness there, I think it was kind of, maybe I said he was a win more sometimes, and that's kind of what he felt like. And, like, again, it's like when we get destroyed cards, and I've brought this up twice, that we used to get excited, and it's like Bounce is in that same territory. It's like, okay, who are you cutting? Why are you cutting? What needs to make it? Clearly, that's where his home is best. But as I've said, the first time around, he does have something that's going to scale over time. I don't see us getting a lot of 1 cost for whatever reason in the future, and it has to be an on reveal. So you have like 2 things working against it for it to be a card. Like, I think Thaddeus ages better than this because you have we got 2 10 power, 3. We got 3 10 power cards this next month. that's 3 more cards that synergize with Thaddeus. Think about that compared to Joaquin, right? So that's obviously a pretty big bump up. And how it's going to age like fine wine, whatever we like to say there. But 2/2 now. You got a different Joaquin, man. That's for damn sure.
It's totally different, and it's way better. And what's interesting about it is in my testing with the 3-costed one, I actually, this might be a hot take, I didn't mind it. With that being said, I'm not like a committed Bounce player. I play Bounce very casually when I have to because I just don't like the archetype that much. I'll be honest. I just don't like the archetype. I like to play other stuff. But when I was playing him, I had a good win rate. I had a good cube rate. I ranked up. He felt good. And what was interesting about it is the cards that were carrying me were the Nikos and the Rocket Raccoons, and those scalers, those effective scalers. And I felt that I had room for them, despite the fact that he was a 3-costed card. At a 2-cost, he suddenly works so much better with Beast. He works so much better with Toxin. His ability to be bounced back and then replicated as like a play is so much better. And so the ability for it to kind of be slotted in and bounce is just incredible. It didn't feel like the best version of Bounce when I was playing Joaquin Torres Falcon, and I think that's what held it back. However, now with him as a 2/2, it feels like he could very well be in the best version of Bounce, especially if we get new 1-drops.
This is what we're going to do, all right? Next season, you can play Joaquin down. Then you can play Mystique down. Same lane. Then you can play your favorite 1-cost. Be whatever you want. Name it. And then you're going to pop down Misery. And then you're going to have that trigger, I don't know how many times. 8 times, 9 times, maybe 10 times. And then guess what? Firehair. Other lane. Triggers. Again, once again, on this card. And you have now 9 demons. You can't even draw 9 cards. And you just win the game. Yeah, I do agree. I think it was what, a 50% win rate in balance before the change, which is not bad. What is it now? I haven't seen.
It was in like the high 40s. It wasn't great, but it was not like people were like, "Oh, this card sucks." I'm like, it's not good. Like it's clearly not like a great card. Like I whiffed on 4, but I think it could very well hit that now. Like it definitely feels really good now.
The problem with this card mainly, and all the cards we're going to talk about today, is like it's not if they're good and if they're bad. Like with Captain Falcon is what I'm going to call him. With Captain Falcon, he was a season pass card, so not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, you got to pay for it. But for these, it's like, okay, when you look at these cards this month compared to the cards this coming month, that's the problem. It's the resource management of them, and like it's a new card. Is it going to be good enough? Yes, but it's when you compare them, and the reality that a lot of Snap players are in is just the scarce resources that they have. Right. That I think is why people are so hesitant on getting something like this.
No, I agree 100%. It's like, oh, would you rather have Joaquin Torres Falcon or Starbrand, which completely could revive an old archetype, or Coccia, which looks incredible, or Isan, which might, Fire, exactly. All the cards next month seem way better, right? And they
spotlights
are, right?
Spotlights at that. The spotlights this month were also like questionable, right? That was the other thing.
Yeah, they were bad, and a bunch of them got dropped. Like, the last one was Phoenix Force and Nimrod. How many times have we literally seen that exact one?
Yeah.
And then Nebula is being dropped as it's in the Spotlight cache. I mean, actually, even this month, we do have Scar being dropped, despite it being in the Spotlight cache, which isn't great. But at least it's not going to Series 3. Like, the other ones are going to Series 3, whereas this one's not. So, yeah. Anyways, Joaquin Torres Falcon, it's definitely better than it was before. And we'll have to see, especially with that recent change, how it performs. Now, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, I'm ready to defend this man's honor. We ended up at 2s, and you were like disgruntled at 2. You wanted to say 1, and I think I talked you up. Okay. I'm going to say that I like Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. And if he gets buffed to a 2-3, I'm going to say that he's a good card. I don't mind this card. I play it probably more than anybody. I'm not going to say that it's like a card that you have to have. You absolutely do not need to have this card. But when I play him, I draw cards. And I think the major concern is that Surtur took a massive L with this patch. Like it's just not the same card it was before, and those shells have shifted. And is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross worth having in those shells? Probably not. When you consider comparing Thunderbolt Ross to something like a Sam Wilson, it's not even close. Does not do that. He doesn't compete in the breadth of the decks that Sam Wilson could be in, and he does not compete power-wise. But the draw effect is powerful. And so I get stuck in this spot of like, is Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross my favorite card that I probably will never play again, and no one should ever play again? I don't know how else to explain it.
I don't know. I think he's, watch him be in the best Isan deck, right? Because, like, you don't put any other 10s. You have him in there. You don't have Isan, but you have all these ramp cards because you're trying to get Isan down.
Agamotto.
Yeah, right? And then you can pull those. Like, I don't know. I do feel like he'll age better. We've kept saying that. He's just the ultimate you don't need him card, and that's the weird thing about him. He's good, you don't need him. And I can't even tell you. Maybe like something like Speed, you know? Like where he's good, you don't need him. Yeah, and Speed's probably not even a good example. Speed's just better. But like, you know what I mean? Something of that effect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I do think that like Speed suffered from that too, where it's like Speed on paper. There was one point in the game where Untapped rated him as one of the highest win rates in the game. And there was not a single person that gave a hoot about Speed. Yeah. And he has seen some play here and there. But like Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, I got to be honest with you, I think it's because of the weakness of the Spotlight caches as well. I don't think people gave him a shot. I don't think he actually got a shot. And I played a ton of him in a couple different ramp shells and stuff like that. Even outside of the actual launch week where like I was incentivized to play him for content reasons. And I gotta tell you, like, I was impressed on occasion, regularly impressed. I had people retreat after they floated energy twice, and I had like 7 cards in my hand. And they're like, what am I gonna do? This guy has all his chunks. So honestly, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, I totally respect the reason why you wouldn't get him. Like if I had to say, hey, roll on Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross or save for this next season coming up, 100% you save for the next season coming up. That was the correct choice. I'm just saying, if this card goes to 2-3, I wouldn't be surprised if it became relevant in a niche capacity somewhere. Because I think it's closer to being good than people might think.
He'll be series dropping on the next drop for sure. Not the next one, but the next one.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Listen, I might be coping, but I'm telling you.
No, I like him.
I
I agree.
like him.
I think you're right. I understand your take. I do. Yeah, for sure.
I understand the take is the nice way of saying your take sucks schnutz. But you know what? Also, I think kind of sucks schnutz is Redwing. Redwing, I'm not a big fan of. I gave it 2-star. You went 1.5. And damn, I don't like this card. I just don't like it at all. Like I would take Thaddeus over Redwing any day of the week. Not even close.
Yeah, just damn.
For sure, seriously.
I don't.
Is that some Thaddeus love?
I definitely don't like Redwing, man. I've said it. How many times I said it is like back-to-back weeks. So I'm just like, oh, I don't know, man. Yeah, I would definitely say Thaddeus for sure. Over those two, yeah. At least in deck, for sure in deck design too, in decks and like being able to play it and whatnot. And Redwing just has so much going against it. Like, not only is it like combo reliant, it's not super plug and playable. It's not in a decks like it doesn't really love to be in decks that are already good right now anyway. They already gave it some more love. Gonna get more love? Probably will. You didn't miss anything.
No. You want to take a guess at its win rate right now?
37.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you did Redwing way dirtier than I expected. It's
purpose.
actually 47.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's still not good.
Yeah.
47's rough. And most probably concerning is the fact that it's seeing play by only 3%. That's its popularity. People did not care at all about Redwing, did not care about Thaddeus. And there's some believers out there. There's some believers, and they're going to be in the comments that you guys missed on Redwing. Yeah, you see them, right? And I'm going to say I disagree. I just disagree. I don't think this is a particularly good card.
It does have one thing good about it, though. There's one like really good thing about it, and it's that you didn't have to spend tokens that week, and that's its best. That's its best trait right there. Thank you, Redwing.
That's it. It does have great variants, actually.
It does.
It has
have
some fire variants. We're going to talk.
What did you call him? You call him like an owl? What did you call him? An owl or something? What?
I thought he was a bald eagle or something. I don't remember. People thought that was ridiculous. But no, it actually blew my mind that he was a falcon.
Okay.
Also, Redwing must only be from the new movie, which I've not yet seen, because I don't remember Redwing existing before. I know that Falcon has like the little robot thing he like has.
That's Redwing, yeah.
But not this.
Yeah, they readapted Redwing.
Okay, understood. I'll just have to watch the movie. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't, dude. I have not made it a priority to go see. It's been too busy at times, man. But I want to. I'll find a way. Or I don't know, man. Movies go so fast at Disney Plus these days or whatever. I might catch it on there. We'll see.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what I did with some of the more popular ones. Like, I just kind of waited them out. I don't remember what the last one was that came fast. Oh, it was Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine. I never saw it in theaters. I watched it in what's it called? In my home. I guess that's
what
where
it's
I live.
called.
But yeah, it's kind of, I was like, what's the name for the thing that I'm in right now? Is yeah. Anyways, it's sorry, but we're confused. It's late. We've been going for a while. All right, so Redwing sucks. That's unfortunate. What I will say that doesn't suck, talking about movies and stuff, my wife and I are still watching through, what's his name?
Daredevil?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where I am right now. I don't know what
it?
I'm watching. I don't know anything.
Who are you?
Daredevil. We're on like episode 5, buddy. My wife actually enjoys it.
This
is good news, man.
Good.
This is a Marvel show that my wife is not like associating with Marvel.
I've been watching this. First of all, I'm happy for you, man. I've been watching. Running Point. Have you heard this? It's with Kate Hudson. It's just like it's like Ted Lasso, but Ted Lasso's better. But it's like you know what Ted Lasso is?
That's like the football coach, right?
Yeah. Good for you saying
he's like a life coach
soccer.
or something. I know I've heard of him. Okay. I've never.
Yeah. Regardless, it's actually a pretty good series. But yeah, definitely Daredevil's much better. News and you listen. You only have to go through like 3 more seasons to catch up for the new season dropping.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Yeah, actually, you're right. 3 more seasons at this pace. I'll be done 5 years from now, which is exciting. So yeah, Redwing, so good we stopped talking about it. Diamondback,
here it goes.
And this is going to be the last card of the caches. Cozy, I said 3.5 to 4, ended it on 4. You went in at 4. Now you kind of gave a bit of a cringe there, so I'll give you the floor here. What do you think about Diamondback?
Well, first of all, Diamondback came out at a little bit of a weird time because of Sanctum coming out. Like, I know a lot of people like wanted to play game mode and stuff. I think for me she performed well, by the way. I think she did good. Her popularity is very low because of that, because you have all the new cards that came out. Last I checked, it was like 1%, dude. It was like awful. It's super low. It may be higher.
I took it just before we started. It's 2.1%.
Yeah, that's really low. So that's almost so low that you can't even take the stats of a win rate. Like that 2% is so low of a margin right? But I would guess, I don't know the rates, I would guess she's above 50%, which is hard to do for Affliction. Hard to do for Affliction decks, and I think she's positive cubes.
She's 50.5 and just ever so slightly negative cubes. But okay. I don't know. These stats, I wouldn't weigh into them too much because this week was destroyed by the fact the new mode came out and the stats are kind of split up amongst them. Now, I was playing Affliction in the new mode when it first launched because I was like, first of all, I wanted the footage, right? I wanted the footage for the content for the new card. And so I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to play this. I thought it was great. I love Diamondback. I think Diamondback's an excellent card. Man, it's a 3-costed card that will single-handedly win a location. And being able to combo it confidently with Hazmat and just completely pump a location, it was so good. I was trying like Evo with it. That was okay. But straight up like Ajax with it was just awesome. It was awesome. Like, it's just, no, I'm not going to accept anything less than Diamondback's a good card because that's exactly what it is, damn it.
Yeah, for sure. And we said that like with Affliction, like, is already just such a good archetype at the time, so it's just something that boosts that up more. I think the question was, is it going to be a win more card? And that was kind of what it was, and I think it wasn't at all, right? Because you just have so many other cards that work well with it, locations that work well with it, and I think it is going to age good as we continue on.
And one thing I will say is that because I was in the new mode testing it a lot, no one was playing Luke Cage in that mode. Like, nobody was playing Luke Cage in that mode. But the people that did, and they played Luke Cage on turn 6, completely just throttled my behind. Like, my cheeks had been clappeth by the Luke Cage, and it was savage. So, like, coming down on turn 6 was pretty rough. But honestly, Diamondback is a good card. And if you're watching this right now and you have the opportunity to get it, like, if you play Affliction, like, I think it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
If you like Affliction, if you like Ajax, those decks are kind of expensive. They're creeping up in cost because you have Malekith versions, which are still pretty good. I like Malekith. That was a call a couple seasons back. You were high on Malekith. I wasn't. And I've aged into really liking that card. And I'm still lamenting over the fact I can't get the Ferraro variant. I've been told is the one that I've been looking for. It has that like nice painted version of it. But yeah, Diamondback is pretty legit. And Cozy, that's going to take us to the Sanctum cards. We have Laufey, Gorgon, and Uncle Ben. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Unk.
Gunk?
Uncle Ben.
Oh, Unk. I thought you were trying to give Gorgon some sort of like fancy name, but I was like, a Gorgon into Gunk? I'm like, okay.
How did Uncle Ben turn out? Was he just a meme? Was he a dream, Alex? How did Uncle Ben show up?
With great power comes a terrible card. This card is garbage. Like, it's less than garbage. It's really like, bad. This card is so bad that, like, it is absolute bait for people that didn't have enough resources to roll for the other cards who are so much, at least more relevant than Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben is so bad, there's literally no reason to play it. I tried to play it in, like, regular Destroy. I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Yeah, I tried to play it in Scream. I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Why would you play Uncle Ben in a Scream deck where you just play literally any other card in Marvel Snap and it's better? You know what I mean? It's just...
He somehow makes Firehair a bad card because you destroy Uncle Ben and then Firehair becomes Spider-Man, right? Oh my gosh. And then you kill her. She's done.
Oh man, I never thought of that. Is this a new cook on the Uncle Ben Firehair cook here?
It's awful. No, it's an awful. That's an offer because you want Firehair. So then, like, she becomes Spider-Man. She becomes marginally better and moves to another location.
You know what would have been so much better? So when Uncle Ben gets destroyed, he shoots bolts from his ball sack.
Ooh, bolts of ball sack on Uncle Ben. Okay, I like it. Yeah, what's his win rate though? What's it, like 35, 30, 25?
38%.
That is...
And negative 0.67 cubes. Almost a full cube negative for anybody who's trying him.
Dude, I listen, I respect the love and the meme ship around him, but he is... we knew he was going to be bad. What about something like Gorgon? I think he's going to be a hard card to see his stats right now and tell anything about him.
Gorgon's stats are totally irrelevant because Gorgon's only going to be relevant when the Isan and the Agamottos... It's like next month. We're basically getting next month's tech card now. And in the past... I don't remember exactly what it was. What season was it? You're really good at this. What season was it where we got like the triple M after?
September, but that's all September of 2023. But the we always get the tech card, the answer for the card after every single time. We always get that. Yep, I know.
Yeah. So who was Triple M trying to answer for?
Triple M was for Loki. Cassandra Nova was for Arishem. Yes. Like we have like. It's always like this after the fact thing that we would get, I think they do that obviously by design. They let something feast for a second and then they kill it. Scream with some of the move cards. Scream came out after like Madam Web and stuff, I believe. Even though that wasn't as big of a deal as we thought it would be. But yeah, but now we're getting it ahead of time. So Gorgon is impossible to tell. But I do think he's going to be the tech card. I don't know if he'll slot into the decks. We've already argumented this for a while. Like, do we think he'll make the spot in the deck? Will he be a big enough answer to those things? I think if Isan and them pop off, absolutely.
I was playing a Gorgon deck, which was a Darkhawk Ronin deck, which I've already brought up a couple times, and he was kind of actually good there because it made it impossible for them to dump the sentries. I also ran the Black Widow, which having that Widow's Kiss in your hand and having to pay for it sucks. And I also ran Moonstone, which could be played on top of the Gorgon, which would also double dip as an activator for a Mystique with Ronin or Darkhawk. And so I actually had a deck that I liked. And I think that that deck is going to perform better into the Agamotto season because of the amount of card generation and stuff like that, and stuffing the hands and preventing people from drawing their Agamotto cards and from Isan pulling sentries and stuff like that. It's going to be kind of interesting. So I think that Gorgon is hard to evaluate right now. But what I will say is if you're playing Sanctum, I think getting Gorgon's important.
Yes.
Because I think that Gorgon might be a very important tech piece, especially if you're free to play. If you don't have Agamotto, and you're not able to kind of join the chaos that might be ensuing next week, you might want to be in a position where you can at least counter and farm. And I think that Gorgon's going to be a key part of that counterplay.
Laufey
is, it's kind of interesting because Laufey comes out the same week that Diamondback's in. And Diamondback and Laufey, in theory, can be played together and even on curve. Diamondback 3, Laufey on 4. I played a lot of Laufey because I was still playing a lot of Fiction because I was really impressed by Diamondback. Like, legit. I think it's my favorite. I don't think it's the card of the month, but I think Diamondback really did punch above its weight class.
Yeah.
Laufey was good, but it wasn't great. And I think part of the reason why is because in order to really min-max it, you had to play in a way where you played Laufey, you ripped power from your own cards, and then you had to reset the power using your own Luke Cage. Because if you had Luke Cage out prior, then Laufey was restricted in how much it could get. It almost felt like a budget-friendly, not even a budget-friendly, what am I talking about? It felt like, like, oh, I want Spider-Woman. Well, you have Spider-Woman at home, and you got Laufey. You know what I mean, that meme?
Yeah.
Laufey felt very similar to Spider-Woman in the sense that, like, it wants to disrupt your opponent. And obviously it's stealing. However, its use with Luke Cage was kind of tricky because you want to min-max.
It reminded me a bit of Black Swan. And let me tell you why. On paper, you looked at Black Swan at the time, and you were like, wow, this is going to work really well into Bounce. And you look at Laufey, and it's like, this is going to be perfect for Affliction. But then when you play the decks and you see the lines and you see the cost and what's being played at what point and what you're looking for and wanting and what's actually happening, just because something looks great, it doesn't always convert, right? And vice versa, if it doesn't look good, but then like in the way that lines work out, it's really good. I think that was Laufey's biggest thing. It's like Black Swan had that issue, and I feel like Laufey, what Affliction's doing, he doesn't. It's he's tricky. He's not bad. I don't think he's a bad card. I think he's kind of neutral. Like, do you like him better or worse than Man Thing?
I would play Man Thing over Laufey.
Yeah, probably.
I think. Because keep in mind, Man Thing has 2 extra power, which is not insignificant. Its ongoing effect can be obviously dealt with. Laufey is more susceptible to, not Shun-Chi. It can be, theoretically, but it's more susceptible to Shadow King, whereas Man Thing's not. I would take Man Thing over Laufey because I think the ongoing effect of it kind of helps out. And I think you're right, though. If you think about what Affliction's doing, Affliction often just wants to afflict anything. If you're playing an Abomination version, you activate Abomination by just having the numbers being afflicted. You can do that with Hazmat, with Man-Thing, with U.S. Agent, whatever. If you think about Cassandra Nova, Scorpion, they're just trying to apply that negative value so that Ajax, which is like the carry card of that archetype, can feast. You don't need to steal the power. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, I think we have this. Here's can I tell you the biggest problem with him, though, and why stats could be completely wrong, and I think Laufey's actually like not bad, is that we knew Diamondback was going to have the worst stats, quote unquote, this week. Right? A lot of people playing Sanctum. Well, Laufey's weakness is the same thing as Diamondback's, right? So you're going to get way more Luke Cages. And so I think because of that, I think he'll be better in a couple weeks from now. I really do. I think he'll age better too. I don't know. It's so hard to tell with these cards that come out on weeks, especially with Laufey, because he got hit with the Diamondback counter too. I want to see how he's going to be in just a little bit.
For what it's worth, I liked Laufey. I played Laufey. He was legit. Like, he did things that Uncle Ben couldn't. Let's be honest, right? And I thought like Laufey was generally serviceable. And if you're a free-to-play player that was playing the mode and you pulled Laufey, you walk away satisfied from that. I think you're going to want to make sure you have at least Laufey Gorgon. I think Uncle Ben, who cares? Laufey Gorgon you're going to want to have. I would probably prioritize Gorgon considering what this next month looks like.
Yeah.
But in terms of individual power, Laufey is a much more capable card on its own.
And we have a lot of like, I think what discard right now is, the Bullseye deck's very popular. You've got the Hela is getting a lot of play right now too, ongoing, and the move decks, right? Those are the ones I'm seeing. To me, it's like Laufey doesn't excel tremendous against some of those, whereas like in the Zoo season where there's like a lot of cards, a lot to deal with, right? A little bit better there. I think it might depend on the meta a tad for him too. I'm going to be interested in his story and where he goes.
Yeah. So let's talk final rankings here. For me, when we look at the free cards that were acquired from the Sanctum Showdown, I would definitely rank them Laufey, Gorgon, and Uncle Ben. But it's funny, in terms of individualized power, that's where they would rank. However, coming into this new season, I would actually probably say that I'm most interested in having Gorgon in my deck.
Yeah.
Or Gorgon in my collection, Laufey, Uncle Ben. So Laufey and Gorgon, depending on how you want to look at it, are number 1 and 2. What do you think?
Yep, I agree. Yeah, and then Uncle Ben's the trash.
And for final rankings overall, when we talk about what we ranked, we actually were almost identical. We had one minor change amongst the two. We both agreed Sam Wilson number 1. I put Joaquin Flores Falcon number 2. You put Diamondback 2. So W cozy on that one. So then for me, I had Diamondback 3. You had Joaquin Phoenix 3. And then we both had Redwing Ross. So Redwing Ross. Ross was at the end, Redwing. I did that again. I did that the most confusing way possible. But yeah, Cozy gets the dub on the final rankings there. We both had Sam Wilson, but you rated Diamondback higher, where I had Diamondback 1 spot lower. And that was essentially the difference between the two of us there. What do you think?
Yeah, that feels right. That's like a Laffy Taffy label.
See, I'm telling you,
That's
man.
tough.
I had a hard time there. Now you are. Now I feel validated.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, good. And you know what else sounds about right, Cozy? It's about right to go to our Snapchat mailbag. How do you like that transition,
I'll give it a
Cozy?
6. It's like a 6 to 10. It was good. The practice was good. The thought was good. The execution was. It was like.
Man, I'm just. I feel like a little off today. I just feel like it's one of those things where sometimes you're just not having your best day. I'm not. I just feel like my performance today hasn't been up to snuff. You know what I mean? You gotta just. Gotta just improve a little bit.
I saw a shirt I wanted to get you, but then it was kind of sexual.
It was just lingerie.
No,
you sent me lingerie.
No, it said it had a picture of the Costco hot dog, and it was like the obvious picture they use on the menu of the hot dog with like little Coke and every Pepsi next to it, and it said "got a little dog in me," and I was like, I get it. I was like, that's fun, but I kind of felt uncomfortable.
I actually don't get it.
I got a little dog in me. You haven't like.
Is that like a down south thing?
No, definitely not. No, you know what? I'll let the comments handle this one. I'm going to buy you that shirt now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll let the comments argue that one there so I don't get demonetized on this one. The bolts of ballsack already kind of running rampant on your side. So anyways, Cozy, we got a couple questions for the mailbag this week, and there's a couple good ones here. Cozy, today we're going to start with some positivity, and it comes from Alpha Ray, who says, not going to lie, the update to the WebShots daily wheel spin is a lot better than I first thought. At worst, you get 100 extra credits each day for loading up a web page and clicking a button. At the high end, it's pretty solid, as I've landed on 200 or more credits, a decent amount, plus I've gotten at least 4 borders from it. I just wanted to post some appreciation for an all-around small buff to free resources. And Cozy, I bring this up because a lot of people may not even realize that this actually exists and that you can go to the web shop on the marvelsnap.com site and you could free roll every single week. If you're logging in like every 8 hours for that 25 credits, man, you got to be rolling for the free shop stuff too.
Yeah, it's definitely something good reminder for people to go check out, and it is a much welcome buff. It happened around the time of the shutdown, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. It must have been added around the time of the shutdown. The only argument I have against it, I don't even know the legality of it, but I still can't believe they don't give receipts for the purchases you make there. It's like you make a purchase there and it just like disappears into the void. It just shows up in your game. It's like, well, I don't know if it's supposed to work like that. Like, you're supposed to give me some sort of proof of purchase, aren't you?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
all right, I know this is like a digital card game and everything we buy doesn't actually exist, but like you're treating it like it actually doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like an order number. I think is the best you get, but yeah, it's not good.
And Elite Surgeon comes in with our next question, which says, also a wild conspiracy theory, but they are finally buffing the bad cards because of Marvel Rivals? Adam Warlock and Mr. Fantastic are doing well there, and they finally get buffed. Also, data mines showed next season White Queen is possibly coming to Rivals. Maybe a Jean Grey buff soon? But that's just a theory, ...
Mantis next up, man. Mantis is coming. We're gonna get a Mantis that is not complete garbage. Is that the majority of the bad ones? That, let me think here. I think so. Yeah. It's yeah.
Winter Soldier might be close.
We'll make he's a 2/7 now. You know, he's busted in that game, dude. He's probably the best hero right now.
You know, it'd be so funny if Winter Soldier got a buff, and then they just gave him like one extra power, and then the next OTA it just said again, and they buffed him again, and then the week after it was again, and they buffed him again, and they just kept doing it till he broke the game. Can you imagine that?
Be on
How
theme.
flavorful would that be?
Would be on theme. Yeah, dude. I think. Well, I can't comment on leaks on that game. I'm not supposed to. But White Queen would be effing awesome. I would love to be able to play with White Queen.
I would love to as well. As Zest Wispa comes in with our next question, it reads, the Guardians have been insanely popular in Sanctum, and for me, at least they've proven to be a very competitive and high voltage as well. More energy equals more cards played for more Guardian hits. Rather than needing a rework, are they just missing one or two new cards to synergize with to get that deck to make it more competitive in ladder?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was last week someone mentioned the either or text or whatever that Adam got. I think that would be probably the change. Yeah. I mean, and then obviously with Sanctum. So I'm almost okay if Sanctum comes around as often as it does, that the Guardians just like feast during that point.
Oh, buddy, I think having a limited time game mode where the Guardians are relevant or Destroy becomes relevant, or like, I don't know if that's a great idea if it's like 2 weeks of like, oh, you got to play Destroy or else you suck.
Yeah.
But like, listen, who the hell was crying about the Guardians before? Give them their chance in the spotlight, damn it. Give them a chance, right? But I do agree. I think the otherwise text is probably the best. And talking about words that we like the best, Deconstructive Feedback said, how many times can you hear the word cope in a single video?
Oh, that's Alex's go-to. I mean, that's your bread and butter now. I think
this is like the first time I said it just today, though.
When did you learn that word? I feel like you learned it and you're like, I'm going to start saying that. Like, I heard you say sus.
I'm like
You've been saying
the
sus a
old
lot.
dad that learned something new and just kept saying it over and over again until it was uncool.
Yeah, I heard you say sus a few times on stream. I'm like, you know, what else? What other words are you in your? What do you like to say?
Yeah, you got to keep in mind though that as a high school teacher, like I'm around a lot of this language,
That's
right?
true.
Like if I wanted to roll with the Riz, like I could. I'm just trying to act my age and be a gentleman.
Whoa. What does the skibbity one mean?
Skibbity Sigma. Apparently skibbity is just nonsense. And actually it was
stupid.
funny. There was this kid that was saying the stuff and he said skibbity at me. He's like, oh, sir, you're being skibbity or something like that. I'm like, how about you get skibbity suspended if you don't sit down? Everyone's like, whoa.
Hey.
All the kids are going nuts. There was like bottle flips happening. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. But I felt like I did it. You know what I mean? Like I became cool in that moment, right? Where I threatened skibbity suspension on a student. That was a good moment
work
for
it
me.
into a thumbnail or title.
Yeah, for sure. And Cozy, we're gonna close the Snapchat, which has been extra long this week, my man. We've been cooking. But you know what else is cooking? These dad jokes. Cozy.
Oh yeah.
Why can't cows wear sandals?
Because
they lactose.
they lactose. That's a good one. I'm gonna take that. Writing that down. Okay.
Okay, you're writing that one down and write down this one as well. Cozy. Why did the old man fall into the well? He did not see that well. That's the one that got you?
That's a good one. No, I like that one way better. Yeah, that was better. That was better.
This whole Snapchat was a good one, and we appreciate each one of you guys for joining us this week. And guess what? We'll see you next one. Happy snapping.